Disclaimer, I do not dislike CinemaSins, and that is not a lie. So this is a remastered version of my Princess and the Frog video, aka my first Everything Wrong with CinemaSins video, because I was getting suggestions from my viewers to make a remastered version of this, and I will say that when I was making the original video, I didn't really know how to do it, and that's why I ended up screen recording it with my phone, so now I've made it just like all my other ones. And enjoy, everyone. To start things off, you're getting 100 sins for seeing my favorite Disney movie, just like in the original video.
47 seconds to get through double Disney logos.
And regardless, this is how a movie works, so get used to it, Jeremy.
Evening Star.
Jesus, Disney, you're not even gonna warn me before you start songing in this movie? Even Beauty and the Beast had a few establishing shots before Belle started the Little Town bull.
But this is not a first for Disney since The Lion King opened with Circle of Life, and that movie came out 15 years before this movie did. And you've seen that movie before this one, so I'm sure you know that.
Mickey, how's the peeping? Mickey, how's the peeping? Mickey, 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 Mickey.
Referencing a completely unrelated movie here.
Oh, look at you.
I know John Goodman's a big dude, but drawing his character this big, relative to the rest of the cast, is rivaling Kingpin from Spider-Verse as the most absurdly large animated man.
Well, considering that Kingpin is much larger than Big Daddy to the point that his shoulders go over his head, I don't see them rivaling each other.
Come on, kiss? No. Stop.
Females flippant feline flinging far from funny, in fact, feels flagrantly foul.
Man mocks movie for making mirthful moments.
Come on, Mr. Pushover. Now, who wants a puppy?
Wait, was that puppy seriously in his pocket this whole f***ing time? Was it being suffocated? It hadn't made a sound since Big Daddy walked into the room.
You do know that that's an example of hammer space, right?
This is the best gumbo I've ever tasted.
We now return you to Ratatouille, already in progress.
Again, referencing another unrelated movie.
You know the thing about good food? It brings folks together from all walks of life.
Okay, I really don't like this movie.
And let me stop you right there. I do respect your opinion, but just like in my old video, I'm going to give you 50 cents for saying that about this classic.
How did he write all that in the half second he put that crayon to work on that paper? Perhaps James should pursue a career in speed writing instead of the food industry. Speed writing's a career, right?
First of all, speed writing is more of a skill rather than a career. Second of all, Tiana wouldn't have inherited her father's dream of opening a restaurant if they didn't both share a love for cooking and making gumbo.
Well, you wish on that star, sweetheart.
Jeez Louise movie. I know Disney was trying to make a return to traditional animation, but this is a bridge too far. If an actual singing cricket comes into the frame, so help me.
Well, there technically aren't any singing crickets in this movie at all, so this doesn't qualify as a sin.
Also, what is Disney's deal with dead parents, man? Is it on the checklist for every f***ing movie?
No, because some that don't have that are Zootopia, Tangled, Sleeping Beauty, Inside Out, Luca, Turning Red, Coco, Brave, and Encanto.
Let me get this straight. This guy voodooed a ginger pompadour onto his head, then waited until he was wooing a lady to werewolf his ass? Apparently, the magic in New Orleans has a built-in sense of comedic timing.
And without this, we wouldn't know that Dr. Facilier uses his magic to scam people in order to get what he wants.
This evil voodoo villain is so transparently one-dimensional, I'm half expecting his character to be literally named Jafar.
Sure, he looks a bit like Jafar, but Dr. Facilier is not one-dimensional. He's one of Disney's acclaimed villains and my favorite Disney villain, so just like in the old video, I'm giving you 10 cents for saying that.
You got about as much chance of getting that restaurant as I do of winning the Kentucky Derby.
Well, if you challenge the result on a bullshit technicality, you may have a better shot than you think.
What?
I'm gonna need about 500 of your man-catching beignets.
Either Charlotte goes or I go. I honestly don't know how much more of this character's energy I can stomach. Were those beignets powdered with cocaine?
Charlotte's energy has nothing to do with the beignets. Part of her character is that she's happy and energetic all the time, so get used to it.
This should cover it just fine, Lottie. This is it. I'm getting my restaurant.
The Tiana grew up with the LaBeoufs, and I'm sure this isn't the only catered event they've thrown. So why didn't she offer her services for what would have been a huge payday until now?
Because part of Tiana's character is that she doesn't want anything handed to her by anyone. She wants to work hard to get a restaurant. And another reason is that she believes that hard work is the only way to get what you want, as she tells Naveen later in the movie.
I can't really play a lot of it for you, but the music in this musical often forgets how to music. It's bland, basic, and sure to be forgotten the second the last note fades. What's the opposite of an earworm? Whatever that is, it's this.
Excuse me, Jeremy? This is an amazing and memorable song that ended up getting nominated at the Oscars for Best Original Song. So calling this song bland is worth these many sins.
And now we have the change in animation style that we saw in Hercules and Beauty and the Beast, and like all the old Disney animation movies. Just because it's a return to form doesn't mean it has to be a direct derivative, damn it.
Well, just because you feel that way about it doesn't mean that others feel the same way, so this isn't a sin.
Man, this story about a princess and a frog and the magical world of interspecies romance has a lot more food porn than I anticipated.
Pointing things out on the screen.
Casual. Arson is casual. And arson.
That's not arson, Jeremy.
This remarkable gentleman has just read my palm. Or this morning's newspaper.
Jesus Christ, they may have been shooting for Charmingly Unaware for Naveen's character, but they landed on flat-out dumb.
Naveen isn't dumb, he's just arrogant and naive, which is why he ends up falling for Dr. Facilier's manipulation.
You do have a soul, don't you, Lawrence?
Lawrence later turns out to be one of the bad guys, but I'm starting to think it's only because he's unfairly derided by everyone from the very beginning of the movie.
This is one of those instances where Jeremy answers his own sin.
And when I looked into your future, it's the green that I seen.
Man, it feels like this song's been going on for 10 straight minutes, so of course it's sung by the cast member with the worst voice.
What? That's Keith David you're talking about. So just for saying that, like in the old video, you're getting 1,000 sins.
I hope you're satisfied.
Actually, no, I'd like a refund on those hallucinogens that I obviously ingested about an hour ago if this is their end result.
Jeremy says a random thing that has nothing to do with the movie.
Travis, when a woman says later, she really means not ever.
Well, then apparently I'll enjoy this movie later. Sure, it's totally common for a formally invited regal guest to walk straight into a party saying nothing and immediately start macking on the daughter of the host. Nothing suspicious about this at all.
But why? Everyone at this party knew that Naveen was coming, though we, the audience, know that this isn't the real Naveen.
Also, the dance isn't that complicated, but Lawrence as Naveen just morphed into this body, and he can execute a perfect waltz at the drop of a fucking hat?
Well, yeah, since, as you just said, the dance isn't hard.
So what now? I reckon you want a kiss?
What? Even though it's only been a few movie minutes since we heard the Frog Prince story? It's been like 20 years for Tiana. And she's thinking about the restaurant, not love. But this is her response to seeing a goddamn frog?
Well, she was just asking that as a joke, thinking back to hearing the Frog Prince story. Didn't expect him to actually answer, as she later says.
I am Prince Naveen.
Even in an animated movie with magical voodoo, who's-a-what's-its and what's-a-macallits, Naveen survives this.
Well, this is an animated film where the main character is turned into talking frogs, but this is the most ridiculous thing to you?
I know this story. Ti fragi brutto.
Well, ain't this convenient. Not only does the frog happen to be a prince, but Tiana is also using the perfect book to try and kill him.
And without convenient things like this, we wouldn't have a movie, Jer.
Besides being unbelievably handsome, okay, I also happen to come from a fabulously wealthy family. Surely I could offer you some type of reward, a wish I could grant.
Man, I know this is a silly fairy tale, but this part of the movie comes off extremely icky on many levels.
I mean, I can see that with the kissing, but I don't see what's icky about Naveen offering to help Tiana if she supposedly turns him human here.
Fun fact about voodoo, Larry. Can't conjure a thing for myself.
Fun fact about plot-convenient rules, Voodoo Dr. Guy, they can be very distracting and obvious.
Well, maybe to you, but again, that doesn't mean others feel the same way.
Voodoo?
Hoodoo? You do. Do what? Remind me of the babe.
Referencing yet another unrelated movie.
Looks like we're going to be here for a while, so we may as well get comfortable.
Man, Naveen is such a goddamn horny toad that even a transformation into a whole new species can't kill his amphiboner.
Well, other Disney films have shown that when a character becomes an animal, it doesn't change who they are, and Naveen is still a womanizer here. Also, making another inappropriate comment.
I told you, it is not slime. It is mucus!
I'm not going to play Jeremy's sin here because I just want to point out that he misspelled mucus.
How did Tiana fashion this raft all by herself, especially while in frog form?
She probably found materials that would work best for a raft, especially considering she later makes swamp gumbo and it turns out delicious.
Alligators cannot form the proper embouchure for playing a trumpet.
And let me stop you right there because this is a fictional movie, so it does not have to follow real-world rules and can come up with its own instead. And like I said in the old video, whenever I watch an anime movie, I accept that it's a fantasy, and you seem to be the opposite.
Mama Odie, she the voodoo queen of the bayou.
We're gonna have to go meet her, aren't we? Why do I get the feeling that this movie is just trying to lily pad its runtime with a side quest?
And we do, because since Lewis has told Tiana and Naveen that Mama Odie is a voodoo priestess, she seems to be someone who could help them, so I feel like you're just trying to lily pad the sin count here. Also, I found a typo. You used its here as in it is, instead of its as in belonging to it.
When I'm myself again.
This is a perfectly nice Zydeco song and all, but it's exactly the Human Again song from Beauty and the Beast. They seriously couldn't come up with something more original than a replica from a previous traditionally animated Disney movie?
Singing something you like.
Life is short, when you're done, you're done. We're on this earth to have some fun.
Hedonism. Hey, that's an actual sin. And oh yeah, it's also a pervy resort in Jamaica that I definitely didn't go to with my college girlfriend.
Making a sexual joke, yet again.
Always wanted to try red beans and rice, muffalettas, poor boys.
God damn it, movie, stop making me want to go to New Orleans and eat Cajun food. The last time I was there, I took a shot of some firewater that a stranger offered me in the men's restroom of the Hustler Club on Bourbon Street. And surprisingly, the night didn't end well.
Who cares?
Also, how does Lewis know about all this cuisine? I know he has some human characteristics, but his ass does live in a swamp.
And you have answered yourself here just like you did with previous sins.
Deep croak.
Wait, the footage you just showed comes before the clip you played in the previous sin, so shouldn't it have played before that?
Discount Lady and the Tramp. Damn, is there any Disney property this movie won't rip off?
I see it as more of a reference to Lady and the Tramp rather than a ripoff, so you should maybe learn the difference between the two, Jer.
Well, look at here!
Oh, come on, Ray. There was barely enough time to jerk off, and I was almost there.
I just got my big butt glowing, that's right.
Oh, bother. They just had to go and drag Jim Cummings into this, didn't they?
Well, Jim Cummings has said that Ray was one of his favorite Disney roles he's done, so I don't really see what the problem is here.
I'm just gonna give it a little twist.
Is he inside them? I mean, he obviously didn't go in through their mouths, which means he's either a magician or sex offender.
He's not inside them, he's just in a place where we wouldn't be able to see him, and the light is coming from where he is.
Ready when you are, Cousin Ray.
All right.
We must never forget, Ray is playing this music with an infant as his accordion for this entire song.
Sure, that is a little weird, but based on the bug's expression here, he doesn't seem to mind it at all.
So, we got ourselves a deal.
The thing about Facilier's relationship to the underworld is that we never understand how or why it works. What are the limits of their powers? If they can deliver favors as an attempt to get him to run the town, why didn't they just do that from the start?
Firstly, they didn't do that from the start because Dr. Facilier is already deeply indebted to them, which he said when making the deal with them. Secondly, if you did research on Louisiana voodoo, you'd probably be able to figure out what the limits of their powers are.
Now we're cooking. We're gonna find ourselves a frog.
I don't care if these motherfuckers are from a zombie dimension or whatever the f***. The prince is a f***ing frog, man. There's no locating him in the middle of a huge-ass bayou.
But as shown in the movie, they do find Naveen in the bayou, so...
But they taste real good with the sauce piquant, right, Pop?
More periphery characters? Every time I think this movie is done introducing new pointless roles, it lobs another one in. Just in the last 10 minutes, we've picked up a trumpet-playing alligator, a Firefly festival led by a vaguely racist Cajun stereotype, and now these three stooges want to be frog poachers. And that's before we even meet whoever this Mama Odie character is. This is turning out to be more of a loosely connected series of lame Looney Tunes sketches instead of, an actual movie.
Firstly, with Lewis and Ray and the Firefly family, their roles are not pointless because they've helped with taking Tiana and Naveen to Mama Odie. And as for the frog hunters, their purpose, along with the other alligators from earlier, is to show the dangers of the bayou to Tiana and Naveen. And also, there have been other movies where we meet other characters before meeting an already mentioned character, so it's not new in this film.
That was below the frog belt.
Below the frog belt? Really? You just add frog to a saying and that's supposed to make it funny? Plus, it doesn't even make sense. Not only do frogs not wear belts, they have internal reproductive organs, so a kick to the cloaca wouldn't hurt any more than anywhere else.
Well, it's just supposed to be a joke, so it doesn't have to make sense or be taken seriously, Jeremy.
This motherfucker finds these balloons in the middle of the fucking swamp and suddenly turns into Sherlock freaking Holmes. Facilier didn't even tell them about the balloons.
Yeah, but the shadows smelled the balloon bits and realized they involved Tiana and Naveen, hence it calling out to the other shadows.
In this scene, a firefly is singing a love song to a star as an excuse to watch two characters we don't even want to end up together fall in love. It's exactly as frustrating and infuriating as it sounds.
Seriously? Tiana and Naveen work well together because their opposite personalities help them change each other for the better. So I don't get why you wouldn't want them to end up together, and like in the old video, I'm giving you 300 sins for saying that. Also, I'd say that the song Ma Belle Evangeline is sweet, not infuriating.
Look how she lights up the sky.
Man, Tiana actively hated this butthole like a few minutes ago, and rightfully so. He's since said a couple of nice things about her cooking and forced her to dance with him, and now she's smitten.
Firstly, Naveen didn't force Tiana to dance with him. He was willing to teach her how to dance because she had taught him how to mince. Secondly, she started to warm up to Naveen when he said that he knew how to do nothing, and she was touched when he said she had a gift for cooking.
Deus ex Mama Odica.
So I could buy this as a Deus Ex Machina since we didn't already see Mama Odie and her lights did come out of nowhere, but I still wouldn't call it that since Tiana, Naveen, Lewis, and Ray were already on their way to see her.
Not bad for a 197-year-old blind lady.
Yeah, and especially one that had no clue that a bunch of animals that were actually human were being chased by a bunch of evil shadows. I know voodoo is magic, but it has limits.
Firstly, Mama Odie is a wise character, and she does know that Tiana and Naveen are actually humans and are trying to change back. Secondly, you said a bunch of animals that were actually human, but Lewis and Ray aren't humans transformed into animals. Lastly, you previously questioned voodoo limits, but seem to know what they are now, so do you know or not?
Y'all want to be human, but you're blind to what you need.
Damn, does every character in this movie have the need to lecture the other characters via song?
Yes, because this is a musical like other Disney movies.
Oh, sure, now he's falling in love with her. You know, these f***ing characters met each other about 24 hours ago, right?
Well, this movie is a fairy tale, and in those kinds of stories, it's common for characters to fall in love with each other not long after they've met.
And I can no longer marry Miss Charlotte LaBeouf.
I swear every time he says her name, I think of Shia LaBeouf, which makes me think of both the Transformer movies and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And that's definitely a sin.
That is definitely not a sin.
There it is. this?
Your restaurant?
Oh, can't you just picture it? All lit up like the 4th of July.
Yeah, but when Tiana was last human, she was epically despondent about being outbid for the property. And yeah, Devine promised to help her, but since then, she's discovered he doesn't have any money, and the only way he would is if he married Lottie, which is probable, but also presumptuous. So even if they get turned back to humans, Tiana's probably back to square one. And now I wish I could get a Disney movie that ended on such a dour note. That seemed to happen all the time back in the 80s.
Firstly, Tiana hasn't forgotten about that since she thinks Naveen still plans on marrying Charlotte in order to help her get her restaurant. Secondly, there has never been a Disney movie that ended on a bad note, and that never happened in the 80s. I've seen every animated Disney film, and considering how many Disney movies you've seen, you should know that. So just like in my old video, I'm giving you 500 sins for this.
Yes, this tiny frog is able to yank this grown-ass man from this float, because movie.
Yeah, because this is a fantasy movie, and so it doesn't have to follow real-world rules.
So Firefly Light can dispose of the shadow demons now? Is that canon? Just trying to make sure I understand all the rules for the Princess and the Frog live-action expanded universe and theme park land, sure to come eventually.
Yes, this is canon since Mao-Odie's light was also strong enough to get rid of the shadow demons, which you showed earlier in the video.
Come on, movie. If you're gonna have the balls to show Facilier's step on Ray, go all the way right away.
Not taking off a sin here. That's worth these many sins.
Think of everything you've sacrificed.
I told y'all she wouldn't come.
Can we define the powers of these voodoo people in this movie? Now Facilier is not only able to turn Tiana back into a human, he's able to make her hallucinate a restaurant and read her mind?
Well, he knows about her dream because of his tarot cards, and that was also how he knew about what Naveen and Lawrence's desires were. Also, do you know how voodoo works or not? Because not too long ago you claimed you knew about its limits, but now you're questioning it again.
I got news for you, Shadow Man. It's not slime. It's mucus!
When film experts meet to talk about the great one-liners in movie history, weighing them on their pith, meaning, and value, it's safe to say it's not slime, it's mucus, will never come up.
Wait, you spelled mucus correctly here, so how did you misspell it earlier?
So that's it? Just one setback and the shadows go all drag me to hell on his ass? Do they have a better shot at taking the city than a shadow man who is willing to work with them and now owes them a debt? The forces of darkness need a lesson in power dynamics.
Well, Dr. Facilier was already deeply indebted to his friends on the other side, so this was his punishment for failing to repay his debt to them.
I am the real Prince Naveen.
Damn it, he survives this again.
Yeah, so?
My dream wouldn't be complete without you in it.
This movie.
No. Sitting this scene.
It's hurting awful bad.
First off, how the did Lewis find Ray? Second off, how the is Ray still alive?
It's almost like the movie showed how Lewis found Ray, but you cut that part out.
Ray?
Wait, what? Tiana presumably had the same amount of money she had pre-Frogger, but now that she has a sentient alligator as a friend, she can get the restaurant? She was outbid, man! What happened to the other person? These are guerrilla tactics.
Except there was no other bidder, and the Fenner brothers didn't want to sell Tiana the mill because of her race, so... And here's the end result, everybody. This in total is 2,533, and the sentence will be turned into a frog. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a nice day.